Okay, so I came across an interesting panel discussion from CTV, surprisingly. And if you're from Canada, you know what I mean. But I do want to thank Mayday 2026 for posting this in the Discord server. But I did realize something after watching this panel. When it comes to Taco Tuesday's trade deals, he doesn't need to win. He just has to be able to say he won. He basically just needs to convince people like this.
So I didn't really do much research, so I can't make comment, but I just trust Trump. Whatever Trump does, I'm going to take his word and go with it. He's the best guy on the planet.
And once you understand that, Canada's entire approach to CUSMA starts making a little bit more sense. And don't forget, we're negotiating with a guy that bankrupt a running casino. You know, where the house always wins. Well, apparently not his house. So I want to jump into this panel discussion right away because each of the panel members has something really important to say. All right, let's get into it.
I'm here with the front bench, Brian Gallant, Lisa Raitt, Tom Mulcair, and Rob Benzie. On the cusp of the G7, Brian, as we await any sort of meeting, though there's no official one on the agenda between the Prime Minister and the President, what do you take from that comment? The idea that, that essentially they're never going to reach a deal with us or anyone else in which they feel that they've lost anything significant?
Yeah, I think that's somewhat true, partially true, and I'm not sure it's something that we don't understand. I think we've seen it numerous times. I have the sense that Canadians as a whole understand that, and that's why they've given some leeway to the government in the way that they sort of have dealt with the Trump administration. I mean,
now, one thing we have to consider, he did make a good point. No matter what side you're on, you have to realize that our government is dealing with a lot of difficulty. And when I say difficulty, I mean a bunch of arrogant little toddlers. And it's not just Taco Tuesday himself, it's every single person in this photo. I would not be able to deal with any of these people, which is why I'm not in government. Because too many people in his administration have punchable faces. Which is why I do have to give the Canadian government credit for the patience that they do have. I mean, we've all been there. Maybe you have to deal with a difficult customer, or someone who feels like they're always right. This is the same thing, just on a bigger scale.
I say partial because I think there's a little bit of a nuance there. To me, my hypothesis is that it's more important for Trump to be able to sell that he had a win, that he had gains, than it really is for it to be a one in which the American people win. And you could probably argue that maybe he somehow personally feel like he gets a win out of it, is pretty high up on the list in terms of his sort of goals for negotiating. Again, I would argue more so than the American people getting a win. And we may see that going back to the first segment with the deal with Iran. I mean, who knows what the details are? And as we were saying, it could be kind of the same thing it was before the war. It could be worse in some respects, but he's certainly going to sell it like it's a win.
Like I said earlier, he's only got to sell it to the people that will, not think for themselves. Like that guy I showed earlier. I mean, how many times has he said he ended the war in the Middle East? Or said that he successfully started to reduce the gas prices when he himself was the reason why the gas prices were going up? The rest of the world, we're smarter than this. But his MAGA followers? I don't think so. I've seen some pretty cringeworthy comments on social media, not on my channel, but basically saying that he's the master negotiator and he will help bring the gas prices down. Again, who started the problem? Now I want to move on to the next person in the panel.
Yeah, I sort of think that my impression, Lisa, is that he thinks he can sell anything as a win. I mean, as Brian points to, in this war, despite really high gas prices, he will never say, oh, yeah, well, there's a bit of a mixed bag of a result of this. He's not necessarily motivated at all by what will benefit American people. But he does have a clear vision of what he wants out of things. What would you take out of that ahead of the CUSMA deadline of July 1st?
Right. So this is how I look at it. I don't know whether or not he is motivated by as much as he's influenced by what other people say. So hear me out on this one. One of the things that our government has been doing recently, which I find interesting, is that they're imploring upon business leaders and they're asking other folks to actually reach out across the border, talk to the farmers, talk to the laborers, talk to the business people, and tell them why working with Canada is a good deal, because that's meant to actually filter up to Mr. Trump so that Mr. Trump can actually hear from others.
Now, this is the first time I'm hearing this. I haven't seen any reports of this actually happening. It's an interesting path, but I don't think it's going to work. The only way this will work is if one of the billionaire friends is affected, and the billionaire friends who's funding his family, I guess, says, hey, this policy, it's hurting me. Can you stop it? Taco Tuesday is not going to listen to the everyday farmer, the laborers, the frontline people who are suffering, and those who actually voted for him. Taco Tuesday will only listen to those that have money, lots of it. Let me know in the comments below if you agree with me on this or not.
that it is a good deal. So he may not need to be motivated by anything other than his own desire to sound wonderful, but he is definitely influenced, or he is encouraged when he hears positive remarks coming to him from these other third parties. So all to say, I think the government may have landed on the right strategy in terms of getting Mr. Trump to a yes, regardless of what the deal is going to take a look like at the end of the day. It could be better, could be worse. It may not be the details that matters. But all to say as well, one thing, Vashti, that you and I and everybody knows is that the United States was not happy with the deal. They wanted a change. We didn't give them a change right away. So they're saying, well, we're not going to renew for 16 years and we're going to stick 232 tariffs on you until we get the deal that we want. And that's where we stand at the moment.
And it's funny, the existing deal that we have was actually the one that Taco Tuesday created years ago. But he won't tell his followers that, right? Now, Tom Mulcair is up next. And I'm really starting to enjoy his, raw, upfront, no bullshit feedback. So let's take a look at what Tom Mulcair has to say.
And do you see any potential for movement there, Tom, ahead of July 1st? It feels like that's not the case.
It's always surprising where the Americans go on this. We had Donald Trump the last time around when we were renegotiating NAFTA. Yeah. It was such a bad deal, he had to change the name of it. But if you looked at NAFTA and you looked at the Canada-US-Mexico trade deal, more similarities than differences. And one of the things that's always been pushed for on the left, by us in the NDP at the time, was to get rid of the investor-state provision. That essentially puts investing parties and companies above governments for a certain number of things. Lo and behold, the Americans agreed to get rid of the investor-state provision in the NAFTA. So it is sometimes surprising which way they'll go on this. I think that we've all got the psyche of Trump right on this. He's got to be able to boast that he got rid of a really lousy deal, which is the one that he negotiated, and replaced it with something amazing. And he's got some characters around him who are even worse than him. I mean, Lutnick is the gnome behind, the continued closing of the Gordie Howe Bridge.
Oh man, what do we say about Nutlick? You see, the problem in the second term, and this is just my opinion, Taco Tuesday surrounded himself with people who will only say yes to him. No matter how bad the policy is or the decision is, they will say, yes, sir. And it's not just about saying yes. The people themselves, they're just as vile as Taco Tuesday.
And look at that guy's behavior in the wake of 9/11. When he was the head at Cantor Fitzgerald, he lost even a family member in there. One of the things he did, he tried to make up for it after by fundraising, but he actually canceled the paychecks of the people who had been killed, and it didn't drop into the accounts for them and their families after 9/11. These are the types of folks that we're dealing with here. They play for keeps, and they play by their own rules and their own way of looking at the world.
Now we have to realize that Taco Tuesday's administration and the people in it, they didn't just turn evil on January 20th, 2025, or when Taco Tuesday got in office. They've been evil way before that. And I'm kind of going off on a little bit of a tangent here, but it reminds me of a comment that I saw that once the Taco Tuesday guy's out of the office, everything will go back to normal. Well, let me ask you this. After Taco Tuesday's gone and the administration is gone, eventually, where do you think Nutlick's going to be? Probably in the private sector somewhere, and continuing to rip off people. I'll ask the same question again for Stephen Miller, Pete Hegseth, Kash Patel. None of these people turned evil overnight, and all Taco Tuesday did was formed a league of extraordinary drunk and vile idiots. These guys are not going anywhere after Taco Tuesday's term is done. And I haven't even mentioned the government officials who will probably still continue on long after Taco Tuesday is gone. So yeah, to those comments that say everything will go back to normal after Taco Tuesday is gone, yeah, I don't think so. The mask has fully come off, and we know what the United States government and the people are. And sorry for the sidetrack rant, I just needed to say something.
We're dealing with two New York bullies who are going to try to outdo each other, and Canada is, I think, doing decently well. They're being Americans, thinking short term, trying to bluster and bully their way through it. We're being Canadian, trying to be thoughtful, trying to think a little bit longer term. Are we going to be able to get something decent out of this? Yes, for one good and simple reason. It's in the Americans' best interest to keep the trade deal going. And if they really want to get rid of the trade deficit between us, really easy, turn off the taps for potash and for petroleum. But of course, they don't want that. So we're going to be in a decent negotiating position. We've got to be patient. We're dealing with a 4-year-old. But overall, I think that as long as the 4-year-old's able to boast after that he won and he fleeced everybody else and he stole their watch, then he'll be happy and we can go away with a proper trade deal.
Like I said earlier in the video, I'm really starting to like Tom Mulcair's take on things. And I'll be honest, before I watched this video and kind of got a new perspective on things, it's really easy to react to every single thing that Taco Tuesday says. But in the end, if we just hold on long enough, we'll probably get what we want, and he'll just claim a victory, which I'm totally fine with if nothing changes. We'll just have to deal with the MAGA idiots saying that we lost. Now let's move on to the last person on the panel.
To be fair, though, nobody, all the big, like the premier you cover, Benzie, all the people who were threatening the shutting off of the taps or the oil, or like none of that's happening anymore.
No, I mean, they've changed their tune a little bit. I mean, and it's not quite elbows down, but it's not maybe the elbows up rhetoric. And in part, that's because we're no longer in an election season here in Ontario. Mr. Ford used a very successful playbook that was so successful that Mr. Carney used the same playbook a few months later last year to win election, and just by making Donald Trump the villain of all villains. And it was helpful politically for both Carney and for Ford.
Now, I just want to comment on the part of like the premier's not threatening to turn things off. I think we just got to the stage where we're just not going to react to everything. And one comment that comes to my mind that I saw is from an international viewer. And I'm paraphrasing, but they basically said that they're impressed how Canada and the Canadians are handling the insults and not stooping to the level of the United States government or the people. I bring this up because I do want to remind Canadians watching this right now that the world is watching our actions as well, not just the United States. And this is just my opinion, but I think we should be proud on how we're handling things. I mean, like Tom says, we're dealing with a bunch of 4-year-olds.
I agree with Tom, Lisa, and Brian on this. It's so difficult to say where things are headed because Mr. Trump ultimately is a chancer. I mean, I thought Premier Smith's comments making sound like Donald Trump is playing 4-dimensional chess is absurd. He himself, the joke always goes, hasn't read The Art of the Deal, which of course was ghost written for him way back when. So I think he's good at bluffing, and that's why Maggie Haberman's book's title was Confidence Man. Right. I mean, he's very, very good at convincing people that you have to deal with him, and you can't. He will outflank you and outsmart you. But at the end of the day, Vashti is one of the only people in the history of the world who went bankrupt owning casinos, and that's not a trick. That's not easy to do.
Like honestly, how do you bankrupt a casino? I don't understand that. I mean, literally every game, the odds are in the favor of the house, whether it's slots, table games, sportsbook. Anyways, back to what he said. Taco Tuesday only needs to convince his followers that he won. The rest of the world, we're smarter than this. Like when he said he fixed the farming industry with a bailout, which the industry is suffering because of him. Or when he said he'll fix the high grocery prices and eggs, which was also caused by him. This is going to continue, and it'll probably happen with CUSMA as well. So I guess my takeaway from this whole video, and my own learning as well, is to brush aside all the rhetoric, hold the line, and eventually he'll taco. But one key important thing that us Canadians and even the international community can do is to remember everything that was said. Because the United States, they're hoping that we have a short memory. To close off this video, I would like to thank Lyle from our Discord server for posting this photo of Baxter's Harbor Fall in the Bay of Fundy in Nova Scotia. I want to thank you, Lyle, for joining the Discord server to share this photo with us. Alright, I really need to get going. The co-host is getting a little antsy. She's been like gnawing at my foot, and I'd been trying not to say like stop gnawing on my foot during the video. So I think I really need to go now. If you found any value in anything I said today, or you want to hear more from a Canadian and international point of view, without the US media bias, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button below. That way you'll be notified of my future videos. And don't forget to hit the bell icon and select all as well. Now, if you want to see more of my videos, check out the ones that are going to show up on your screen shortly. Thanks everyone, I'll catch you in the next one.